Good morning and welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square for Black Friday coverage, we have Coye Nokes. She's a partner at OC&C Strategy Consultants, and we're going to take a look at why winning in retail requires a differentiated proposition. Coye, it's great to have you with us at market site, and the question is traditional retail dead at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's been the question for quite some time. And what I think the last 6 months has shown us is actually it's not dead. But the consumer wants something different. They want a multi-channel experience. They do want that differentiated proposition. And as a retailer, you have to be able to deliver that without completely eroding your profits.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this earlier, even though the holiday shopping season is 6 days shorter.
That's right.
As we've seen with stock performance throughout the year, retail's always a tale of the haves and the have-nots. The companies that are doing well should perform well with even a shorter calendar, and the ones that have been struggling, like department stores, will probably use the calendar as an excuse if performance isn't there.
I think that's right, and the additional thing happening is it's really a heavy promotional season. It always has been. Most started last week because of the shorter season, and I think you're going to see a lot of the department stores, the ones that aren't winning, really driving a lot of heavy promotion.
Yeah, well, it's good for the consumer.
It is. I think they really want to get consumers in store. A lot of these retailers really have been working on their proposition, have been trying to do interesting partnerships and new things in store, and they really need to get the consumer in store so they discover it.
Yeah, and you have in your notes here retailers like Target and Walmart, the big boxes, and we've seen that in their earnings. They are starting to perform with the investments that they've made, even with their online investments.
That's right, yeah, and it's starting to become a bit of a flywheel in terms of the consumer is engaging across all of their channels. And when we advise our clients, the thing that we're talking about is how do you capture the consumer? Because the journey is fragmented, they're going a lot of different places to research, to find products, and you have to be able to capture that and bring them in store, bring them to your digital proposition, and have it all work together.
Yeah, even Kohl's is another example that you have here by partnering up with Amazon,
right?
Or finding ways to get consumers in the store. Are you seeing that successful?
Well, I think with Kohl's, it remains to be seen. They have driven some sales growth, but have at the expense of profits, because it's been promotional to get traffic. It's quite expensive to drive traffic that way, and I think it remains to be seen whether or not things like the Amazon returns or some of the partnerships they've done with different brands will actually get traction with the consumer.
Yeah, because part of retail is, especially with margins, because they can be so thin, operating a store is very expensive.
It is, and operating these multi-channel experiences is very expensive, and you have to invest in them, and then you have to improve the operations. Things like same-day pickup in store, it's not easy to deliver from an operational standpoint.
Yeah, and they also have to be competitive with the Amazons of the world.
That's right.
For sure. I mean, Amazon, do you still see Amazon as dominating the retail landscape?
It'll be really interesting. They have been gaining share of this kind of seasonal shopping period for quite some time. And I think Walmart, Target, there are some people now who could rival that and who could halt their share gain over this period.
All right, and to wrap up here, should we get tariffs in place on December 15th or the trade deal doesn't go through, how do you see that impacting the retailers?
I think this has been a conversation for quite some time. Retailers have largely kind of just moved on and kind of said we have to get on about our business and keep operating. But people are trying to understand what their supply chain is, how impacted they're going to be, and really thinking about their sourcing.
All right, Coye, thanks so much for joining us at Market Site.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.